I'm going to tell you a little bit about CIMIC. CIMIC is a privately owned group of companies with the power to change. That was my strapline before Trump became president yesterday, or president-elect. So, who are we? You've probably not heard of us as CIMIC. CIMIC stands for Shipping, Industry, Mining, Energy and Commodities. We're part of a family group called Gupta Family Group Alliance, and you'll know our sister probably better than us, which is Liberty House, who has recently been acquiring assets in the UK, predominantly steel assets. So why am I talking to you today about steel? Is because it's one of the largest contributors to carbon within the construction industry. But a little bit about who we are. The CIMIC family operates all around the world. 3 years ago we turned our focus to the UK. We saw an opportunity and we saw a reason to be located and actually start buying industrial assets here. Our core focus was and is the manufacture of steel. We come from a background of commodity trading, and we've decided to close the gap and remove the incremental hands that are in the supply chain within the steel industry. We focused on the UK because we saw it as a declining market that had the biggest opportunity. So, our vision is green steel. We're well underway with our green steel vision. What is green steel? We don't make paint, so it is a steel product, but it's predominantly looking at the life cycle of steel from the start of its mined history right the way through to the finished goods. In the UK, we actually import around about 14 million tons of steel a year. 80% of that goes into the construction industry. We export 17 million tons of scrap steel. The steel we import is actually normally a return of our own scrap steel in the form of ingot that we then process into a product either here, or worse still, we'll move a finished goods across the planet, which is occupying a huge amount of air because it's a tube, it's a bar, it's a plate, not optimizing the footprint, the global footprint of that product. So we started with a very small steelworks in Newport, which had an electric arc furnace. So we currently now, in that plant, collect steel, process scrap, roll coil. We then acquired downstream operations in the Midlands and Scotland, where we can convert that coil into tube and rebar and other things that are relevant to the audience here. Our focus has been and remains, how do we make a product which is environmentally sensible, cost effective in the marketplace, and above all, truly green? Because we've heard lots of great data today, and some of it, if we weren't amongst friends, probably would be challenged to its veracity when we look at the green credentials of projects like some of the projects that we've looked at. So, how do we complete the cycle of creating a green steel product? We've heard that, I've told you that firstly, let's use the scrap locally, which talks about the circular economy that we've discussed before. Secondly, manufacture of steel is around energy, and it utilises the carbon content of steel is predominantly the energy to convert it from either a scrap material or an ore into a usable product. So, CIMIC bought a coal-fired power station next to our steelworks. That's really, you know, that was really offsetting the carbon number. But actually, at the moment, that's under conversion to biomass, and that will actively power the electric arc furnace there. Secondly, what we've done is we've looked at all our operations. We have bought 27 industrial businesses in the UK, consuming 108 megawatt hours, 108 megawatts per hour. So we've looked at each site and we've said, how can we create the energy for those industrial assets locally? Because our message really is about shortening the supply chain routes. If we can supply green energy to our sites to power the operations within them, if we can take scrap off the seas, we can then actually look at a truly green product going back into the construction industry. But why have we done this? We've done this to make money. We're all here to make money, and decarbonisation, as we've heard, can save money and will save money. And in our model, it definitely does work and it invigorates an industry. So, on a local level, what we've done is we've started to put bioliquid generation parks co-located with all our assets. It's a very small, low capex solution, and it was actually thanks to people in this room through the innovation of biodiesels that it's been made possible. But the bioliquid plants allow us to self-generate, come off grid, and guarantee that we will hit our target by 2019, which is to be carbon neutral in the production of steel. Now, what I would ask of all the people in the room, and I think it is a collaboration and something that we should be working towards, is that when we source heavy materials for construction, we actually source them locally, and truly locally, not just with the British flag embossed from somewhere else. Thank you.